Okay, how's everyone doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic, phenomenal. I hope you are all doing ecstatically well, and I'll do everything within my human capacity to make it as good or perhaps even ever so slightly better. Thank you for joining us. This is lesson number 9. But before we go there, as always, traditionally, we're going to quickly revisit the lesson number 8, the values of your team. The values are the items. There's a priority list, which ideally you want to manifest. You want to write it down. Some people, once they get to 10 points, they can even frame it. It's not your life goals yet. It's not your short and long-term goals. We're gonna get there. These are the things that matter to you the most, and we start with number 1, which is the greatest priority, and then it's descending priority. There are no good or bad answers. This is highly subjective. This is only relevant to you, to your life, to what flows from your heart. This is what's important to you, and you finding those things by answering, what am I spending the most time on? What am I investing the most energy in? And what am I spending the most money on? These are the three questions that will allow you to ascertain what is on your value list. And this will change like everything else in the physical multiverse. The items will go up and down. You add new items, you remove some items as you go up and down on your arc, on your character arc within the framework of your algorithm of the game of life. It's just a tool, it's just an assistance. It's not set in stone. There are no stones, there's only consciousness. But that's another story. So this is super important because this will predetermine how well you will align with the belief systems. So when you download the belief systems, when you say, hey, I like that belief systems, I would like to use that within the framework of my game of life, the how empowering that belief system will be for you, it will be predetermined of how well does it align with the existing values. So this is like, imagine the belief systems as being the battery and then the value being the charge of that battery, and how they correspond to each other, that depends of how they correlate to each other. So this is why values are super important for your belief systems, and also they are super important for the people that you will attract into your reality. That yes, people will have different BOS scripts, the base operating system scripts. They will have different BSs, different belief systems. They will have different values. But if their values and your values are aligned, if they are similar in terms of priority list, then that gives you the greatest probability of manifesting the long-lasting relationships. That it gives you the probability of co-creating with those people, whatever it is that you want to do in your life, whether it's content, whether it's physical businesses, whether it's e-commerce, whether it's charities, multinational organizations or political parties, whatever it is within the framework of your highest excitement, you will need people together, and which people you will align the best with. Second vertex of your why, the trust index, that is predetermined by the values. So everything will change, but please be very careful when you're paying attention to your values and other people's values. And once again, in order to ascertain their values, what do they spend their time, their energy, and their money on? That will give you a hint of what they value in life the most. So that's values, and we're moving swiftly to the lesson number 9. The lesson number 9 will be the art of reframing, and the subsection of the subject, which will be the maintenance of the attitude. So first we're going to start with the attitude. So remember that the first index is the happiness index, is the spectrum between love and fear. So as you're going up and down, because you will, as you asking yourself at the beginning of the day, midday, or before any challenges, and at the end of the day, you ask yourself, how am I doing? And you're being honest with yourself. You're staying in the presence. You're not giving the answers to me, you're giving the answers to yourself. And yes, you answer with a figure. So that is essentially your capacity of choosing the figures from 6 to 10, the positive framework, the love based consciousness, the joy, excitement, those positive emotional states that will give you the greatest probability of success on a daily basis. And then you have on the other side of the spectrum, the lower spectrum, the fear-based consciousness, 1 to 5, the happiness index. The fear-based consciousness, I'm so-so, not too good, not too bad. I'm not too bad. That's very popular in Britain. That's negative framing. Framing, there's a first clue for you. That's you are programming your subconsciousness, and you are essentially giving your subconsciousness, the consciousness that is governing your body, the reasons to feel good or feel bad. And this of course goes back to how you talk to yourself. This goes back to framing. But the attitude is essentially whereabouts you are on a daily basis, and the attitude is a mindset. This is essentially a question: should I feel good or should I feel bad? It's the way you are looking at the events of the daily occurrences. So attitude is very important, especially in sales and especially in high performance art, especially if you are a performer, if you are a politician, if you are a public speaker, and if you are a salesman. Attitude is super important, because if you lose your attitude, people will sense it. We were talking about the fact that people are 99% of communication is non-verbal. It's not what you say, it's not how you're saying it, it's not about cadence, it's not about pacing, it's not about tone of voice. No, these were super important, but the most important is energy. The energy that you are manifesting, people will sense it. Whether you are in a large crowds or in a small groups, people will sense it. And there are those people who are more aware, those people who are higher on the empathy spectrum. But the reality is everyone is on the spectrum. Everyone is sensitive. It's just many people choose to believe that they're not. And it's a belief that, so they are self-sabotaging themselves. But they will sense it. I mean, you have that popular term like, I feel your vibe. This is exactly it. And that has entered the popular vernacular now. So maintaining the positive attitude is super important for everything that you do in your life, not just in sales, not just in high performance. So if you lose your attitude, if you neg out, as the industry term is, that when you choose to go, and yes, you choose to go, you go from the 6 to 10, you go to 1 to 5, that you're losing your attitude, you're negging out. That is essentially the negative mindset, that you're giving yourself the reasons why you should be upset. So on a daily basis, when you go about your day, you're fulfilling your workflow, you're just fulfilling your character arc each and every time on a daily basis with small incremental changes. You will have to develop the ways of maintaining your attitude, because there will be things that will not go as planned. You will start your channel and you will not have subscribers. You will see that there are some challenges with assembling your team. You realize that the people who are already on your team, they have misaligned values and you didn't know about it. You are finding out that your highest excitement, your passion that you've included in your values, it's not really your highest excitement. Many things will go not as you've expected them to be, and that's maintenance of attitude, aka the mindset of keeping yourself in the higher realm, higher level spectrum of the happiness index is super important. And this is where framing comes in. The framing is essentially the way you present facts and figures and reality or perception of reality to yourself. So I'll give you very simple examples. Now I'll give you first the positive framing. It's that famous parable that most of the people have heard, particularly in the Western world, the parable of the fox and the grapes. So there was a fox, and of course, hey, it's just a tale, it's this tale for children, but all those tales have powerful storylines, powerful narratives. That's what content creation is. It's a narrative, it's a storyline. You're telling a story. You're always telling a story. Everyone is a content creator. So there was a fox and he was going down, and there was a walled garden. So there was a high wall, but it was a grape garden, so probably they were making wine. But no matter what it was, the fox wanted to eat some grapes, but the grapes were fairly high up, so the fox just came up to the wall and he tried to reach it. And no matter how hard he tried, there were no ladders, there were no immediate solutions to his challenge, so he couldn't reach for it. He just couldn't get the grapes. So after several attempts, he just looked at this and said, nah, they are probably sour anyway. That is positive reframing, that he wanted to do something good for his subconsciousness, for his body. He wanted to feed his body. He wanted to give himself a sugar boost, but he couldn't. But then what he did, he has used his consciousness and he has reframed it. He has said that, you know what, actually, I didn't want it in the first place because I couldn't get it. But that's positive reframing. That even though most of the people would go to the negativity spectrum, he maintained his attitude. He stayed in a 6 to 10. In fact, if you're really good at it, because like everything in life, it is a talent and it's a skill set. And a skill set develops as you practice it, like everything else in life. And we'll be talking about skill sets soon enough. You don't worry about that. But this is it. That was a positive reframing. Now I'm going to give you the real life example of the negative reframing. That's that famous example. If you live in UK, you are most certainly acquainted with it. If you live in United States or anywhere else on the planet, perhaps slightly less so. But there's an amazing human being called Kathy Newman. She's a television presenter of the Channel 4, and Kathy Newman, she has found herself innocuously famous because this is amazing. This is a cautionary tale, guys. Always come with the positive attitude. Whenever you broadcast to the planet, always come with the best attitude you can. Please, internet is forever. You can never take it back. Poor Kathy has made herself famous, but perhaps not necessarily for the reasons she wanted to in the first place. She is most famous for interviewing Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson, the famous Canadian clinical psychologist, who, I mean, he has had a bit of challenges with his character arc. He was talking to everyone about cleaning his own room, but then he has chosen to forget it's not about cleaning your room, it's about maintaining tidiness of your room, and it's about paying a very careful attention to who comes into your room and what they do within your room. But that's another story. But back in them days, when Jordan Peterson was on his ascendancy in terms of his character arc slash career slash exposure to the netizen community within the internet, he was famous. One of the very few social scientists who became famous almost overnight, almost all over the globe. And what happened is that Kathy Newman wanted to do an interview with him, and she did. And what she was attempting to do, I mean, that's gonna be studied by the children by literally decades, if not centuries. That's gonna be the example of the negative framing. That she wanted to do everything within her power to present him in a negative light. Now, this channel is all inclusive. We are being as inclusive to everyone. So we're not gonna say that what she was doing was good, what she was doing was bad. We are non-judgmentalism. But everyone, if you go onto the comment section and you look at the comment section, everyone just saw through it that she was trying to present what he was trying to do in a negative lighting. And why she was doing it, that's a question that you would have to pose to Kathy. But there's a very high probability that Kathy was in a negative mind frame, or perhaps she was surrounded by the people who have been in a negative mind frame, that lost their attitude and they went to the negativity bias. But nonetheless, this is super important to pay attention to that, because you might become just like Kathy Newman, innocuously famous for the wrong reasons. But that was the negative framing, because his intentions at that time were actually very good. He wanted to help people, not just young males. Many of the social sciences students, in fact, more than 60%, happen to be ladies, God bless them. I mean, mass psychology is something that invariably attracts many people, but most of them, statistically, at least in the Western world, are ladies. So it's not just like Jordan Peterson was helping just young males. No, he was helping people around the globe. This is what happens when you have something positive and something empowering and something that can help billions of people around the planet. And at that time, he was doing that. And Kathy was challenging it, and she wanted to frame it in a negative light, and people saw right through it. You see, this is the power of the internet. This is the power of the collective consciousness, the collective consensus. This is how powerful you guys are. This is why I'm always teasing now our metaphysicist brothers and sisters who classify themselves as empaths. That empathy is not binary. It's not, oh, I'm an empath, you are not. No. It's just like entrepreneurship or content creation. Everyone is an empath, everyone is an entrepreneur, everyone is a content creator. It's a spectrum, how high or how low you are. So people will sense your energy. So please take it very seriously. And if you lose your attitude, if you go into negative vibrational frequency, if you're going into the downward spiral and negative emotionality, find a way to reframe it. And the way to reframe it is, once again, flows back to values and the belief systems. Most importantly, it flows back to the people. This is why you have the second vertical of your why. This is why I keep telling you guys that many of you beloved ones, you really want to do it by yourself, and God bless you. And at first, because many people are like, JP, I don't know anyone. You will get to know people, trust me. You'll get to know people soon enough. Many of those people are actually downstairs in the comment section searching for you, just like you are searching for them. You will start solo, not a problem at all, but when you will really start scaling your dream, you will need people and you will need your team, precisely that, for this reason. The best way of maintaining your attitude is when you surround yourself with the people who have the great skill of maintaining their attitude. It becomes like a net, like a safety net, that whenever you fall, they will bounce you back and you will reciprocate. You will do the same. It's like, you know, when people are jumping off from the plane and all of them are holding hands and they are having an amazing time of their lifetime. That's kind of how it is when you do startups and when you do new business ventures and social enterprises, that you must do it together. The life is a multiplayer game. So many of our brothers and sisters have chosen to forget that. Just a gentle reminder, alone you can do nothing. So the best way to maintain your attitude is when you have a positive team. I mean, the team that can laugh at themselves, the people who are empowering, loving, kind, those people who have those items high on the value list, they are almost always the most invaluable. And the greatest leaders, when people ask me what is the most important leadership skills, is it the ability to outline the vision? Yes, it is important. Is it the ability of smart goal planning? Yes, it is important. Is it the ability to prioritize? Yes, it is. Is it the ability to delegate? Yes, it is important. Is it the ability of taking the large goals and then chunking them down into small incremental changes and then distributing them over the time scale? Yes, it's super important. But trust me, very few things are as important. Perhaps I will be too presumptuous, but I will risk it with you guys because, you know, I love you guys so much, and I've just allow myself to operate from the position of maximum level of integrity, aka the emotional vulnerability. I will tell you, one of the most important leadership skills is maintenance of attitude. If you can maintain your attitude and you can maintain other people's attitude, the military scientists and military strategists and military leaders call it morale. It's the willingness to fight. It's that thing that, just like Aliyah, that princess of American R&B, dust yourself up and try again, try again. That's it. You lift yourself up, you dust yourself off, and you keep going. And if you can do that for yourself and the others, you lift your fellow human beings. That's the mark of the very enlightened, very compassionate, very loving leaders. The greatest leaders are very loving and very compassionate people. They care for people. Whether you are a military leader or a social leader or a political leader or a corporate leader or a charity leader, the maintenance of your attitude vis-a-vis the art of reframing, that you find their belief systems, you find their values, and you reframe it in such a manner that it allows them to look at it. At some stage, you will come to appreciate that it's not you raising their vibrational frequency, it's not you allowing them to come back up to the positive attitude. They are doing it. But the way you're going to reframe it for them, the way you're going to paint a picture for them, that was going to be permission slip for them to go back when everyone needs to be in a state of greatest collaboration and co-creation. And that's the state invariably of the greatest excitement. The miracles, as many humans call them, happen only when you go above that threshold 6 out of 10. Ideally, you want to go as close to 10 as possible on a daily basis. It's a wave function. You will go up and down. You will never maintain more than 8 out of 10 on a daily basis. But if you are there, trust me, sky was never the limit. And the art of reframing is presenting the events in such a way that you can go back to the positive attitude. You can go back to the very highest expression of your happiness index. That is one of the greatest skills and talents of the leaders and community people all over the globe. So like everything else, and we'll be talking about talents and skill sets soon enough, but this is one of the most important ones. So the art of reframing. So that's one of the ways you surround it with the positive people. The other ways is just to remove yourself from the environment that has created the collapse of your attitude. So I know it's easier said than done, but if you are working for yourself or you have the flexible team, you will be able to do that. Do something else. Go and watch the comedy show. Go and watch the YouTube videos with the funny rabbits or funny AI videos. Go outside to nature. That's another thing. You must remove yourself from that environment. It's almost as if you are surrounded constantly by the energy, and then someone has created the negative energy, and it's like a bad air or a contaminated water. You need to get out from that space, and then ideally you want to connect yourself with the positive people. If it's not members of your team, you will connect yourself with someone vis-a-vis the internet, or you go to nature. These are three ways. There are positive people on the team, positive people outside of the team, nature. There's one amazing biologist who has coined the phrase the nature deficit disorder. Many people are in a state of negativity bias. They're very low vibrational frequency. They are losing their attitude because they are disconnected from themselves and they are disconnected from nature. Remember the fourth item that we talked about? I invited you very gently to include it in your values list, the planet Earth. That's nature. So trust me, if you ever lose your attitude, just have a very short picnic, go back to mother Earth. It costs you nothing. You can go to the park. You don't have to go for holiday in the middle of your day. No, it's about maintaining it. You regain your attitude through positive reframing, and then you go back swinging, because you need to continue your workflow, because you shall find that, like everything else in life, it's a skill set that you'll be losing attitude, and then you'll be measuring how long will it take me to regain my attitude. And better you are at reframing, because that's what happens when you connect with the right people who can reframe for you, or you reframe for yourself, or nature reframes for you. It's reframing. It's just looking at it from different perspective that allows you to go back to where you belong, to the state of highest excitement, highest joy, highest exhilaration. That's where we would like you, as much as you can give us. No pressure, no pressure. It's a skill set, it's a talent. Don't worry, you'll get there. As long as you surround yourself with the right people, or as long as you spend sufficient time in nature. But I'm gonna give you another one. I'm gonna give you a bit of a life hack. Now, this one is gonna be a little bit of those God cheat codes that I'll be giving you guys, because now you guys know that there's literally infinite amounts of possibilities, and you know it's just a BS, and we're not assigning values to it, because the values will change. You assign values to yourself. You don't assign values to the belief systems just yet, especially the ones that you disagree with it. So it's not good or bad, it's not true or false. I'm going to give you the belief system that will resonate particularly with the people who are metaphysicists, and also some religious traditions. And apologies to the humanists, but don't worry guys, we will reframe it for you as well. But essentially, imagine that there's such a possibility that you are energy, that your consciousness is energy. And imagine that you can download whichever belief system you wish, because you are so high up on your super consciousness that you just tap into the multiverse slash super consciousness slash God slash Buddha spirit slash Krishna slash Christ, however you wish to frame it. That's your game of life. But imagine that you have literally access to the super consciousness that has infinite amount of wisdom and infinite amount of intelligence. And imagine that you can just download the information that exactly when you need it, precisely for whatever reason that you need it, and you need it to get back to where you belong, to the state of highest excitement, to the state of unconditional love. So imagine that you have the ability to do that on a nanosecond basis. Imagine that you can reframe whatever you please, however you please. Imagine that you have that power, but it's not your power, because you operate from the sense of humility. Remember, it's like, hey, I'm not doing it. the God is doing it, or multiverse is doing it, or creation is doing it, or nature is doing it, or people are doing it, or internet is doing it, or artificial intelligence is doing it. But imagine that you always have access to the right information, always, regardless where you are. If you have that as a belief system, that's the very first step. And then imagine that you are energy, that you are vibrational frequency, and imagine that reality is just like the movie Matrix. Imagine that you are essentially the grand architect of your reality, and your reality is just a vibrational frequency reflection. So reality is a mirror. Just like when you have, imagine that you have, that's for our humanist brothers and sisters, imagine that you have a perfect AI, which is, instead of writing prompts, it's actually connected directly to your brain tissue. So as you think, as you visualize, you create everything, all the pictures, all the videos, all the sound effects, just as you go. And by the way, of course we're going to manifest that, but not quite yet. Just relax, guys. But imagine that you have the machine that is essentially reading your brain, and you manifest reality as you see fit. So you create whatever content you wish, whatever storyline, whether it's a short movie, a long movie. You don't have to do it in 10-second clips. You just create the entire narrative as you go. Imagine that you have that power. So imagine that reality is such a clip, is such a manifestation. If you imagine that as a possibility, I'm not saying it's true, I'm not saying it's not, we don't do true or false. We do, is it getting me closer or is it getting me further away from our collective goals? Imagine that the entirety of physical reality is just a reflection, it's just a mirror, and it's a reflection of you, your vibrational frequency, your energy. That whatever happens, it's just a way of multiverse slash God slash nature slash people telling you, like, this is whom you are. So don't change the people, don't change events, don't try to change things which are beyond your control. Always change yourself, and then reality shall follow. Entertain that as a possibility. If this is just way too much, it's way too much for now. And remember, it's not about whether it's true or not. We don't care about that. Your brain doesn't care about that. Whether you will allow yourself to reframe it as a possibility. So you're going to be reframing the means to get infinite amount of reframing. That's the power of reframing. So I would like you to have that as a life hack, just a tiny gift from our community here, because we are all co-creators. It doesn't come from me, it comes from the people, it comes from nature, it comes from God, it comes from creation, it comes from multiverse, however you wish to frame it. It comes essentially from some other aspect of you. This is a gift from your greater self to yourself, just as a possibility. That's the power of reframing. And you shall find that the people who find themselves in the greatest state of unconditional love and the highest excitement are the masters of reframing. And it's a skill and it is a talent. And we'll be talking about skills and talents very, very, very soon. There's few things that we need to talk about before that, but I think that this is going to be sufficient for now. And guys, if you have any challenges with any reframing, you can ask me in the comment section. Now remember that making all those videos, this is super exhilarating for me, but nothing comes close to co-creation together. Remember the meme of the falling tree that if no one is there to hear it, do you hear the sound? And the answer is no one cares. No one cares if there's a sound. So don't think for 1 nanosecond that the observed object and observer are separate. They might not be. And Niels Bohr and Einstein were blown away by that possibility, and it was just too much for them. But entertain that as a possibility. If you are really good at the art of reframing, you will be able to reframe it in such a manner, regardless of which boss, which base operational system, whether you are humanist, religionist, or metaphysicist, you'll be able to reframe it in such a manner that you will consider it as a possibility, and it will help you to get where you belong. at the highest expression of vibrational frequency, always high, always cheerful, always positive, always loving, always co-creating with your growing spiritual family, your audience, your market, whatever you wish to frame your fellow human being as. That's your game of life, and you are becoming a master of framing as long as you choose to believe you can. So this is it for now, guys. If there's anything that you need from me, I'm downstairs in the comment section, and I shall see you very, very, very shortly. Mwah, 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 mwah. Love you all. All the best.